This isn't advice. This is a warning. What I'm about to show you doesn't calm your mind. It dismantles the future your mind keeps trapping you in. Once you see how this works, you won't be able to unsee it. You'll start noticing how people are ruled by things that haven't happened yet. How fear doesn't come from reality, it comes from imagination. How hesitation is just a story about tomorrow told too loudly today. And once you learn how to shut that story off, you don't just become calmer, you become dangerous. This isn't a confidence trick. This isn't therapy. This isn't positive thinking. This is a psychological weapon. And once you use it, you will never look at decisions, fear, or people the same way again. Here's how this breaks down. Part 1, the hack. What it is, how it works, and why it silently controls almost every human being. Part 2, the trap. How this same system keeps people anxious, obedient, and easy to manipulate. Part 3, mastery. How to turn it against the mind itself and walk through life unshaken by what hasn't happened. Part 1, the hack. The hack is called the outcome nullifier. It sounds simple. It isn't. Every human brain is addicted to one thing, the future. Not what's real, not what's happening, but what might happen. Your mind is constantly running simulations. If I say this, they'll think that. If I fail, everything collapses. If I try, I might look stupid. If I wait, I might lose my chance. These aren't thoughts, they're predictions, and your brain treats them like reality. Your heart reacts, your body tightens, your voice changes, your behavior shifts, all because of something that does not exist. Most people believe they are reacting to life. They're not. They are reacting to a movie in their head about life. The outcome nullifier is the skill of killing that movie on command, not replacing it, not arguing with it, not making it positive, ending it. Because once a predicted outcome loses meaning, it loses power. Why this controls you? Here's what no one tells you. You are not afraid of failure. You are afraid of imagined failure. You are not afraid of rejection. You are afraid of the story you tell yourself about what rejection would mean. The brain assigns emotional weight to outcomes that don't exist yet, and then it forces you to behave as if they do. That's why people freeze. That's why they overthink. That's why they sabotage opportunities. They are not weak. They are future controlled. The outcome nullifier removes the weight from imagined futures. No weight, no fear, no paralysis. Part 2, the trap. This system doesn't just hurt you, it makes you controllable. People who are obsessed with outcomes are predictable. They want approval. They fear embarrassment. They avoid conflict. They delay action. And manipulators know this. They don't need to threaten you. They only need to hint at a bad future. Disapproval, loss, shame, rejection. Your mind does the rest. A raised eyebrow, a pause, a disappointed tone, and suddenly you're explaining yourself, justifying, apologizing, giving away power. Not because anything happened, but because something might. That's how people get trained. Not by force, by future fear. Think about every time you've hesitated before saying what you want. Every time you didn't take a risk because you imagined the worst. Every time you let someone else decide your next move because your mind ran too many what-if scenarios. You weren't thinking. You were being programmed by a story that hadn't even happened. Part 3, the weapon. The outcome nullifier is how you break that leash. Here is how it works. Skill 1. Detect the simulation. The moment your mind starts running a what if, label it, not as fear, not as anxiety, as a prediction loop. This is a future simulation. That one sentence creates distance. You are no longer inside the movie. You are watching it, and a watched fear weakens. Imagine your mind like a virtual reality headset, overlaying disaster everywhere. You can't remove the headset entirely, but you can press pause. The virtual fire is still visible, but it no longer burns you. Skill 2. Strip the meaning. Every imagined outcome has emotional weight. What if they judge me? What if I fail? What if I lose them? Your job is to remove the meaning. Say this internally. Even if this happens, it means nothing. Not that it won't hurt. Not that it's good. That it is neutral. Your brain panics only when outcomes feel important. Make them unimportant. Imagine a storm raging in your mind. Now imagine someone quietly unplugging the power source. The storm keeps moving, but it can no longer damage anything. Skill 3. Kill the future. Now interrupt the simulation. Mentally say, outcome nullified, and return your attention to something physical. Your breath, your hands, your feet, the room. Your brain cannot run a future while you are anchored in the present. The movie fades. Every time you do this, the loop loses strength. Every repetition makes the collapse faster. Every action teaches your brain, future does not control me. Skill 4. Act anyway. This is where power is forged. Do the thing the loop was trying to stop. Send the message. Speak the truth. Make the move. Not because you feel confident, because the outcome no longer owns you. Every small victory rewires your mind. Every action proves the story wrong. Every step forward trains your brain brain to stop fearing scenarios that don't exist. And after enough repetitions, they stop trying. You stop being trapped by futures that never arrive. Skill 5. Reinforce with observation. This is the secret most people miss. Notice the patterns. Which scenarios dominate your thoughts? Which fears hijack your decisions? Which imagined outcomes paralyze you every single day? Track them, label them, neutralize them, then act, then reflect. Turn this into a loop, and your mind slowly stops generating unnecessary futures. It starts conserving energy. It starts obeying your command, instead of running simulations that cost your clarity, your focus, your freedom. The psychological truth behind it. Your mind reacts to meaning, not facts. It doesn't care that a scenario hasn't happened. It only cares that it believes it matters. Take away the meaning, and the brain no longer mobilizes emotion. Your heart doesn't race. Your muscles relax. Your focus sharpens. And here's the brutal fact. Most people are enslaved by scenarios that never exist. They live in a fog of prediction. They can't make a decision because they're stuck in multiple outcomes at once. You just learned how to turn the fog off. What happens when you master this? When you master the outcome nullifier, hesitation disappears. Anxiety becomes powerless. Overthinking stops controlling your decisions. Fear stops owning your attention. You don't just become calm. You become decisive. You become strategic. You become untouchable in moments that destroy most people. You start seeing patterns in others' predictions too. You notice when someone is hesitating because of imagined futures. You notice when they're being manipulated by outcome fear. And then you realize, power isn't loud. Power doesn't need force. Power exists in control over what's real and what's imagined. The dark side, why this isn't for everyone. The same skill that frees you can enslave someone else. Manipulators live in future simulations. They plant thoughts, suggest scenarios, and watch their victims react to things that haven't happened. They don't need to speak a word. They just hint at disapproval. They just pause. They just wait. The victim obliges. The victim justifies. The victim apologizes. All because the manipulator controls the imagined future in their head. This is why people get controlled without even noticing. Once you understand how futures control people, you also understand how easy it is to weaponize this knowledge. That's why this hack must be respected. Used wrong, it becomes a silent manipulator. Used right, it becomes the switch that frees you from your own mind. Mastery, what real control feels like. When mastery hits, you walk into a room. Conversations happen, decisions need to be made, and you are untouchable. The past doesn't haunt you. The future doesn't scare you. Your attention, your choices, your actions all belong to you. You see the stories others are telling themselves. You see where they're trapped in predictions. You act, respond, and move, while the rest are paralyzed. And you never need to over-explain. You never need to justify. You never need to hope, because nothing that hasn't happened can control you. This is the outcome nullifier. It doesn't make life safe. It doesn't make it easy. It makes it yours. Once you learn to kill the story the mind tells about tomorrow, you stop reacting to shadows. You stop hesitating at doors that haven't opened yet. You stop letting imagined outcomes steal your energy, your focus, your freedom. You don't just live. You command reality as it exists, not as it might be imagined. And that is where all true power lies.